Good morning, class. How are you all? So, today is a good news. We'll finish the fifth chapter finally. So, today we just have one topic left, that is women. The struggle of the women's equality and rights. We finished with caste, tribe, disabled, their problems, their struggle, how they are facing discrimination, prejudice. So, this last is women. If you look around us, see, women are equally important part of our society like men, but do we treat them equally? You ask yourself. No, the answer is no. You must have seen discrimination, prejudice, all this happening against them, and they being ill treated, they being suffering from a lot of problems, major to minor problems, and many of the women don't even share their problems. So that is why the struggle of the women has been continuing since ancient times. So the women themselves and some social reformers came to their rescue and worked for the upliftment of the women. Women are considered to be physically and biologically weak. Now, who's the male dominated society has decided that women are physically and biologically weak. That is why they justify the patriarchal society which is prevalent in most parts of the world. Gender inequality, if you look around, if a girl is being ill treated, if a female is being ill treated or not given equal status like the men, it is taken as natural. We have not put reason behind it or found it illogical, because we have been seeing this, so we are treating it very naturally. We don't means like the one example is so many things happen against them, but we don't realize the seriousness, the gravity of the situation, because we have been seeing it, so we take it naturally, but this is not natural. So there is a struggle which started for the rights of the women and their equality. Now the so-called society, the double standards of male society, they say that the females are weaker sections of society. That is why they can't handle the responsibility and important tasks. But we have many examples in our society, like the Khasi tribe of Meghalaya, the Nayars of Kerala. There, the women have been the ones who has the authority. They have been taking decisions, and their society does not face any kind of problem. So gender inequality, if in a society, this is a form of social inequality, and we are taking it as natural, or we have been taking it as natural. Gender inequality is thus a form of social inequality. You can see in this picture, a male is running and a female is running and making her own path on the way to glory, success and development, and the male is supported by the rest of the society, but the female is not supported, so she has to make her own ways all this while, and the things are not perfect as they should be, but things have definitely improved. Now social reformers are there who have worked for the upliftment of women and for women rights. First we see here's a picture of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. You must have heard his name several times but not seen him. Please have a look at him. He was a great man. He worked for the abolition of Sati Pratha, and in 1929 he sought the help of William Bentinck, a Britishman that time, and Raja Ram Mohan Roy gave many evidences from our ancient scriptures and said that sati is not a good practice. It was not being followed since ancient times, so it should be abolished strictly, because sati means when the women, they used to be forced to get burnt alive along with the pyre of the husband, because she was thought to be a problem later on after the husband dies. So that is why she was forced to be burnt alive. So this was totally opposed and it was very horrible. So it was totally opposed by Raja Ram Mohan. He was the first person, and he was the one mainly responsible for the abolition of sati. Imagine this happening right now. It would be disastrous. And Raja Ram Mohan Roy established Brahma Samaj in 1828. He also worked for the upliftment of women by giving them child education. He wanted that child marriages should be stopped. He wanted to encourage widow remarriages. Another social reformer is Dayanand Saraswati. He also has established a Samaj like the Raja Ram Mohan Roy. He has established Arya Samaj. He also, the main thing of him was that he wanted to abolish child marriage. Child marriage means the girl used to get married, imagine in the olden times, at the age of like say 10, 11, or maybe even before that. They were not mentally, physically, emotionally very strong that time, and they were forced to get married. They were given the responsibility of household, which was not good for their health. So this was mainly abolished with the efforts of Dayanand Saraswati. Have a look at him also. You'll hear his name time and again whenever you study sociology or history if you've studied in junior classes. The next social reformer here is M.G. Ranade. He is a Brahmin, and when he grew up, he realized that women are being treated in a very, very bad way. So he appealed to the people. He wrote books, and he also mentioned that in the Vedas it is not good to treat the women in a very wrong way. He raised his voice strongly for widow remarriage, because when the husband of any widow died, she was considered unlucky, she was ill treated. So that was not appreciated by M.G. Ranade at all, and he raised his voice for widow remarriage. He says that widows should be allowed to get remarried, and this is not a crime that they have done by becoming a widow. It's not in their hand. So he did another very good thing. Next social reformer here we have is Jyotiba Phule. Jyotiba Phule, yes, Ba in Gujarati. If you put a name Ba in the back of someone's name, you feel it's a female. But Jyotiba Phule, he's a male. You can see here, he attacked caste and gender oppression. Caste and gender means he fought for the inequality or discrimination which was happening on the name of caste and gender. He himself was a Dalit, a scheduled caste. Started this association called Satya Shodha Samaj. Satya means truth. Satya is a Hindi word for truth. So he established that. He focused on the status of Dalit. Now women have been brutally treated since ancient times, but Dalit women, their conditions are all the more worse. So he worked for the upliftment of the status of Dalits. He was also the first Indian to start a college for women in Pune. That wonderful job he has done. The next reformer we talk about here is Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Again, he was into the sanctioning of widow remarriage. He said that there is no way that widows should be treated in a bad way. So he said widows should be allowed to get remarried. He encouraged men to marry the widows and arranged community marriages. So he also tried to change the thoughts of the men. He said that the widows, it's not their fault. They should not be ill-treated, and they should get married again. He did this to give respect to women, because women were not given respect. So he did this because he wanted that every woman should be respected. Now this is women reformers. All these are males we were talking about. This is Tarabai Shinde. So she's a Marathi, that's a Shinde. So she felt that women were degraded. She felt, because she was living in those era where women were actually degraded. So she to express her views, or to raise her voice, or to bring everyone's attention towards the degraded status of women, she has written a book, Stri Purush Tulna. Stri means women, Purush means men. So Tulna is comparison. So she's written a book comparing the male and the female roles as a protest against the double standards of male dominated society, and to spread awareness. She's written this book. Women were ill-treated like slaves. Example, a young Brahmin widow was sentenced to death for killing her newborn baby because it was illegitimate. But no effort was made at that time to identify or punish the man who had fathered the baby. So this was an incident which shook her, which mentally disturbed her. that time a girl, she was punished because she got an illegal child, but the father was not pointed out, or he was not blamed for anything. So that means the double standards that shows the double standards of our society, when we are just pointing our fingers just at the females and not at any male. Next lady out here we'll see is Begum Ruqayya Shakawat Hussain. She's another social reformer. She also has written a book, Sultana's Dream. Sultana's Dream in 1915, where she has reversed the role of men and women. So she's written a satire, a very sarcastic and a witty manner. She's written the book in which she's exchanged the role of the men and the women. So men are doing whatever women are supposed to do, women are doing whatever a man is supposed to do. So she's written this again as a protest to bring everyone's attention to the bad status of women in our society. Problems and see, the problems of women have been there since ancient times. Problems have been there, but before independence, problems are of different kind. After independence, problems are of a different kind. See, in the olden times, there were problems of sati, then parda system, then child marriage. So child marriage and all is still there, but sati is removed. Parda is still actually not to that extreme condition. So these days we have more of domestic violence, we have rape problems against the women, we have discrimination in the workplace on the salary which is given to the women. So the struggle to get to fight for the rights of women have always been there, but it again came to the surface in the mid 1970s. There was a renewal of the women's movement in India. Some call it the second phase of the Indian women's movement. While many of the concerns remain the same, concern means the problems or the issues of the women remain the same, both in terms of organizational strategies as well as ideologies. There was a growth of what is called autonomous women's movement. The word autonomy means independent. Apart from the organization, there were some new issues that were focused upon in the 1970s in the women's movement. For example, the new things which were added were violence against women. Over the years, there have been numerous campaigns that have been taken up. You have noticed that application for school forms now have both father's and mother's name. Earlier, this was not the case. It has come into place after a long struggle, after many people raising their voice. So the things which we see around should not be taken for granted. They have come into existence after a struggle of many thinkers, reformers, who have taken a lot of pains to get this equality for the women. Issue of land rights, employments have been fought alongside rights against sexual harassment and dowry. So sexual harassment, many women in the society that are sexually harassed even today. So that actions have now, there are legal actions which can be taken away in those people who are sexually harassing the females. Dowry means when the women when there is a marriage taking place, the women's family, they give a lot of gifts, a lot of property to the male. So that is big for the male to get married to the female. So that is dowry. So there are dowry is also now considered a social evil, and you're not supposed to practice dowry. The 19th century social reform movements and early women's organization. There are some organizations which were formed which fought against rape of women, dowry murders, domestic violence. Domestic violence is when the women is being hit within the family, within the four walls of home, and she is not supposed to speak up. So that is domestic violence. Inequality in wages. Wages is salary. Female feticide means when the girl child is killed inside the womb. Female infanticide is when the girl child is born and then she is killed. So against all this, there have been many organizations which have been formed. Like example, the Women's India Association, 1917. All India Women's Conference, 1926. National Council for Women in India, 1925. The 19th century social reform movements and the early women's organizations, they succeeded to create an atmosphere where women's question could not be ignored. by the male dominated society. Now, because of the efforts of the reformers and these organizations, there is a recognition women are not in the same way disadvantaged like they used to be. The concerns of the educated middle class women is different from the peasant women. Now, in the society we have different classes: high class, middle class. We have different castes: high caste, low caste. So the low caste women or the scheduled caste women, their suffering is more than the women of the higher caste. Let's take the example of violence. The women of the low class, they bear the brunt of the domestic violence to a greater extent. They are still ignorant. They have illiteracy amongst them. Provision for women. Now, after a lot of struggle, after a lot of efforts, after a lot of pains taken by the social reformers, by so many instances taking place against women, there are some provisions which have been made by the government to secure women and to make them feel safe and to make them feel at par with the men. During the 19th century, there were few associations also which fought for the women. Sati is totally removed. Child marriage is considered illegal now. Parda system is not there. Ill treatment of widows is not at all allowed. So in 1931, in the Karachi session, you remember the year? Indian National Congress issued a declaration of the fundamental rights where it committed means the Indian National Congress decided that they would work for the equality, that is women's equality also, include women's equality also. The declaration reads as follows: everyone is equal in the eyes of law. The declaration which was decided in the Karachi session when they were planning to frame a constitution for India in 1931, that's before independence. So this was decided before independence also. Imagine till now the women are ill treated, so there is a long way to go. Okay, let's come back to this. Everyone is equal in the eyes of law. According to this declaration, no disability attaches to any citizen by any reason of sex. Women should be allowed to hold position in society. The franchisee means the right to vote should be given to all. In 1993, a great step was taken. There was a constitutional amendment passed in India that called for a random 1/3 of village council leader or sarpanch positions in Gram Panchayat to be reserved for women. So there were reservations for women. They are still now there in our society. We have reservations for the women in government sector so that they get jobs, they get empowered, and they do not face all the problems which they have been facing since times immemorial in India. The status of women in India has been subject to many changes over the span of recorded times. Many women have emerged as leaders of local movement. We have in the contemporary times also, we have many women who with literacy, education, with their own efforts, with their strong determination, have set examples for other women who feel weak, that sky is not the limit. We have one example, Medha Patkar. We have many other examples. If you look around, so many strong, empowered women are there who are working for themselves and who are not losing heart and are trying their best to lead and give a very golden example to all the women in the society. Women have risen in unison, in unity for gender related issues, and also spearheaded many significant social economic movements in the country. As it is rightly said by Jawaharlal Nehru, that we can tell the condition of a nation by looking at the status of the women. So the status of the women is really important and it should not be taken lightly, and people should change their attitudes, change their mindset, and value even women, because they are not weak. They are not weak and they should be treated like the male. Hope you understood this. Now please read the entire chapter, then you will understand thoroughly. Any problems, again I am saying, please do contact. Thank you.